Want to see this thing go fast? I'm talking really fast. Today we are going to swap out the standard 12 volt battery. We're going to put in dual 20 volt Dewalt drill batteries, lithium ion, and we're going to see how fast this thing can go. Stick with us. We're going to get into the full build right after this. Here is the Power Wheels that we're going to be modding. It's actually not a true Power Wheels. It is a Dynacraft brand. It is the Dynacraft Spiderman Edition. So it's not a Power Wheels. It utilizes a different type block battery. It actually has the main wiring harness running underneath of the car. And the steering is completely different as well. But this is what we're going to mod. We're going to do dual 20 volt drill batteries, and we're going to mount them on the back panels. And then we're going to run the wiring down through into the existing battery hatch. And that's where we're going to have our controller. And this is actually my nephew's car. There's my daughter's. There's my nephew's little electric bike. There's the niece's little car. And there's Uncle Rico. Let's get into it. Here is the full parts list. Go ahead and pause this if you need to jot these down. Here's our standard 12 volt Power Wheels block battery. Note the proprietary connector that comes with the Power Wheels. This is the Dynacraft 12 volt battery. It's a lot the similarities, but they actually have a lot of key differences, like the battery, the main harness is running underneath of the chassis instead of on top of the chassis. And there's definitely some differences in like the steering composition and some other key components. Note that it just has a small red connector that goes into the main harness. What we're going to end up doing is we'll end up cutting right here in the middle, putting a Molex connector. We'll leave this connected to the main harness, and that will allow us to quick connect to the old battery or to our new setup. Our new setup is going to consist of this DC motor controller. This is our terminal block where our power is going to come in. This is our controller board where the lithium ion batteries it'll keep them from over discharging. If you over discharge a lithium ion battery, it potentially could end the life of the lithium ion battery. So what this will do is when it gets down to 16 volts, it will cut the power with a 1 volt offset till it gets back up to 17 before we can power back up. We're going to go ahead and use this setup all hooked onto this nice custom superior designed wood block. We're going to have our control valve or control module here. We're going to have our terminal block, and then we're going to put our circuit board right, let's turn it the right way, right there. We're going to go ahead and hook that up, and we'll come back. Get on through, man. Yeah, this will be a higher. Yeah. Now flat, push it back. Interesting. So before we actually stick this down, that'll be the last thing I say to do. I would say, right, I think we can mount the boards. This needs to go up. Get yours, let's do it right. The total depth right here, that's right up there. That's where. Oh, you all the way through that. Really small point. Yeah. I'm not going to go for you. That one. That's what we're going to do. We'll cut some of it. Some of it. I need to pause the action to show this one. Focus. Focus. How I did. You want to board? Just spin this. It's pretty good. Then I added a wrap on it. Oh yeah, you don't want to do that. There are. So ideally, we would like to use a 14 gauge wire across, but instead we're going to use we've got a 12 gauge and a 14, and that's what we're going to use because that's what we got two of. That's where we're going to go ahead and start wiring it up now. This is just sitting here. We're going to use a double-sided tape because there's no easy way to mount it. And basically the run is going to be both of the 20-volt batteries are going to run into the negative in the power terminal. So I'll have 4 wires, 2 coming in here, 2 coming in here. From here, we're going to run the out of the positive and the negative, and we're going to run it up to our over discharge board. We'll run to the in, and we're going to run from the out to the in on our controller, and then we'll run from the out to our main harness, and then we're going to go ahead and tear into it. You got for the terminal block, we're using big ends, for this we're using small ones. Since these are coming, where are they coming from? They're coming from the 2 leads from batteries. Do we want to go ahead and mount the batteries? We're going to run to these. But let's go ahead. Yeah, let's run from here and do the internal part, and then otherwise we'll just but these still run. Alright, real quickly, we've got it all hooked up, although the block part all hooked up, but it doesn't look that pretty because we're limited on space severely. So what's going to happen again, our 2 batteries are going to power into this main block. Then they're going to come out and go to the in on our circuit board. From our circuit board, we're going to come out to the in on our DC controller. This has a plus and a minus, and it says in. Over here has a plus and a minus, and it says out. So we're going to put double-sided tape, and we're going to stick this guy right there. Pretty limited on space, so we might have to twist these wires out a little bit to make it fit a little more snug, but that's how it's going to be, just like that. And this will take place of the battery, so this will go in and out of the housing. We're just going to have a little bit of an out, a couple wires coming on the out of this with a Molex connector, and that will plug into the main harness where the battery is. And this will allow us still to use this guy, because we'll hook this into another Molex connector. Here is our final product for our replacement block. We've got our terminal block. This is where our 2 Molex, or our 2 drill batteries will come into. They'll be coming out from the terminal block and coming in to the in on the circuit board. From the in on the circuit board, we'll run the out from the circuit board into the in on the DC power controller. There's the in. And you can see it says input. And then this says motor. This is your output. And then we're running to, we have a Molex quick connector. And then we made a pigtail off of the original battery. And this is off the original battery that will hook into the power harness, the main harness. This will never come out of the power wheels now. We're going to plug this into the power wheels, and we'll always leave it in there. And then whenever we want to take this whole unit out to put in, say, the standard 12 volt battery, we simply unhook right here. Then we'll unhook the 2 pigtails coming off this that go to the 20 volt batteries. And then we'll simply have a Molex connector off of our old battery, and we'll plug it in to the main harness plug right here. And that will be it. Starting our mounts. Here's what we did. First mount, our 3D printed cradle. We lined it up And then we're gonna we're gonna drill holes and we're gonna fish the wires down through the body, down into the battery compartment. We'll have 2 Molex connectors and then we'll hook it into our main end. So we still need to mount one right here. And he's gonna go get that and we're gonna line it up and start mounting it. These are 3D printed cradles that we got from Amazon, I believe, maybe eBay. We'll put links in the description for everything on how you can acquire these. I highly recommend this type that we purchased for this. On the first mod I did not buy the pre-installed wires. Man, it was terrible. I ended up having to drill them. I had to make my own connectors, and it wasn't worth the $5 or so I saved per cradle. We're just using the drill mark. Oh, I'm narrating. We're probably not going to music playing fast speed on these. Why not? I'm going to drill them in and just hand tighten them as I strip these out because we're going into a thin layer of plastic. There's no way we can have your hand up in there without taking disassembling all the way in. And so we can't use bolt, we're just going to screw, we'll hand tighten this up, and then we're good to go. There's not enough work or pressure on these when enough, as long as you're pushing your button. He actually sanded both of these with a file to make them come on off a little smoother, because they're cheaply 3D printed cradles. You know what I'm talking about, these are fast speed. Click, click, click. Let it click in. Just like too close. What's the same as this one? Pretty close. One, there's 2. We're gonna figure out where we're gonna drill a hole into the main body, and up underneath the battery compartment there is a hole in there where we're gonna try to fish the wire down through, and then that way we can put them in. So it looks like the batteries, pretty sharp, pretty smooth connections. Now let's go ahead and figure out where we're gonna drill a hole and then run the wire down through. There's 1, there's 2. We're gonna figure out where we're gonna drill a hole into the main body, and up underneath the battery compartment there is a hole in there where we're going to try to fish the wire down through, and then that way we can plug them in. Here's what it looks like with the dual batteries. Pretty sharp. Alright, so now we have both cradles. We've got the holes that we're going to run the wires down through. We've extended our wires just long enough so that we can get them down through there to connect in and extend on both sides. Now we're going to try to run them down through the holes and fish them down to the battery compartment. Should be a fun, tedious task. Maybe we'll get lucky and drop right down inside the plastic. Is our hole going to be enough for the wire connector? No, I'm going to have to line the hole. I actually think I did that on my original as well. Alright, so we finally got it all hooked up, and we've got our batteries successfully mounted. One 20 volt, there's 2 20 volts. We've got it routed. We fished it with the wires, which I had to hold the power wheels up off the ground. We had to use a long grabber and re-fish them down through the housing. Then we've got our circuit board in there, our block, and our motor controller. They are all hooked. This is the main wiring harness where the battery used to be hooked into. We have a Molex connector that runs in from our out up to here. So our drill batteries run in. Drill batteries hook into right here into the terminal block. Then from the terminal block, pull that light down here and let's get a better light. So we've got the ends come in here. Out comes up to the circuit board. to the circuit board is the input. From the circuit board, we have the output. From the circuit board's running down to here, to the input on the power controller. From the power controller, we've got the output to the motor, which actually runs to the main wire housing. Molex quick connector, main housing, normal wire harness. So it's hooked up and ready to go. For the maiden board, you can see it's showing 19.6 volts at the board, and that will shut it off at 16 and keep it from over draining the lithium batteries. Now the problem is we're going to test this thing, and I think our motors are going bad, so we're probably going to have to replace both of these motors. We'll get probably 2 new RS 550s in here, maybe 570s, probably 550s, 40,000 RPM motors to give us a little more increase with better longevity. So here we go. That's some bad sounding motors. How's that sound? Yeah, we're gonna need some motors. That's not what it's supposed to sound like. Break. Hard to break it. So we've got the mod done for the most part on this guy, but what we have to still do is he's going to pull that back out. He's going to probably unhook that all. He's going to spray paint that nice wood block and make it a pretty black or something of that nature. And then he's going to remount it and hook on that DC power controller, then tuck in all these nice pretty wires. But we're going to have to order some motors, so we might have to tear this all open anyway. Oh, we're going to do the additional bike tire mod on this side. He did the one side because he had a cracked wheel anyway. So this was a way he was able to fix the crack and go ahead and do the mod. We're going to put the bike tire on this side. We're going to put bike tires on both of these over here. I've already got them ordered, haven't got it yet. We're going to do, we've got light mods coming up. He's going to put LEDs in the front of his. I'm going to put dual driving LEDs on that one.
Red underglows.
Red underglows on both. Both models you're doing red underglows. I've got red underglows that are CFL tube lighting. He's got standard LED lighting we're going to put underneath. I think that should catch us up for a while on our mods. I may actually order a new gear shifter, and I may order the 550 RS 550 40,000 RPM motors and replace those as well. And this concludes our build video today. If you got any enjoyment, any value, any entertainment out of it, please like and subscribe and follow us for future content. Thanks for coming and enjoy the ride. There you go.